Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today, whether you're in person or on Zoom. Hello, friends. Welcome. In person, obviously, if you have questions at the end, simply raise your hand. For those who are on Zoom, if you want to throw your questions in the chat, we'll check those out at the end of the presentation. So thank you again for joining us this morning. My name is Chris Allen, and I am the head of the Early Childhood Division here at Dwight School. This is my 17th school year. I think that's right, because it's the 18th year of the preschool. Preschool opened in 2005, and then I came along in 2006. I have been an early childhood educator for over 30 years. I started out in the classroom. I was a kindergarten teacher for a little while, I was a pre-K teacher for a little while, and then I found my home in the twos because I love the twos. It is my favorite age to work with. And you'll still find me many days popping into their classroom, playing with them here. So it's very fortunate for me to have my office right there next to the twos. I have my master's degree from Hunter College in early childhood education, birth to second grade. And while I was there at Hunter, my thesis was on the detrimental effects of external rewards on intrinsic motivation. Because when you do a master's thesis, it has to sound really, really smart from the start. And what I did is I found the positive discipline model while doing my research for that thesis. And since then, I've gone to many conferences, many different trainings. I've offered many different trainings, and I'm also a certified positive discipline educator. So I've gone through the certification process. My next step is to be a certified parent educator, because they offer that as well. So they have a lot of tools, they have a lot of resources. If you go to their website, there's a lot of different articles and blogs and things like that that you can read. I brought today just my preschooler book, Positive Discipline for Preschoolers. They have positive discipline for everything. You can read just about anything. It's almost like positive discipline for your marriage. Like they have it all. So there's many, many different resources there, and you can find those, I think, as well. The other thing that they do is they come up with these tools, these little parent cards. And this one is the parenting tools one. And what they recommend is you get the little tool, the deck, and you pick one tool at a time. And you say, okay, I'm gonna work on this tool. This is the tool I'm gonna try to hone my skill with that. And last year they came out with tool cards for kids. So we're very excited about this because these are written for the children. These are for them to work on their tools. It's written in a way, it has a little diagram and then a little saying. It's almost a little Daniel Tiger that way. Like it has a little saying to go with the picture, and then some exercises you can do with your child to help them with that. So one of my favorites is choices and consequences. The choices that we make, they have consequences. So what are the consequences? How do we work with that? So we are doing this year at the preschool and in kindergarten. We're going to start working with the children with their tool cards, picking different tool cards maybe every other week, and focusing that with them. So we're very, very excited for this new tool for us. That's my background with positive discipline.
And good morning, I'm Laura Turecki. I am an educator. I have a master's degree in special education, and before I was a mom, I taught children that had severe disabilities. Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, those types of disabilities. And then I got married, had kids, and threw my hands up for everything else. And we started here at Dwight in the Small Wonder program. And I got super involved with the Parents Association, and when they were looking to add somebody to the admissions team, it was a good fit. I had really gotten to know the school through the PA and had the education background. So now I've been part of the faculty for about 8 years, but we've been community members for around 13. My son, Alex, who you'll hear me reference a lot this morning, he's in 8th grade and actually currently in DC on a trip with the 8th grade team. So I'm constantly tracking him to see where he is and texting him and annoying him and reminding him that to be very well behaved while he is a representative of our family in DC. And my daughter Evelyn is going to be 11 in a few weeks, and she is in 5th grade at Dwight. So what I kind of bring to this table, Chris was doing these seminars when I was a parent here, and we would kind of chime in, and we ultimately decided to do this together because she can give everyone kind of the facts and theories behind everything, and I can give the like what it really looks like at home. So I try to continue to be a positive disciplinarian in our home. But what I'm really here to tell you today is to share kind of some of our successes as a family, some of our trip ups as a family, but just to kind of really bring it all home for everyone and to know that you are not alone and that we are always here as a community to support you.
I think that's one of my favorite things about positive discipline is that the first thing they say in the conferences when they're presenting is that you're not going to be able to do this all the time. So give yourself a break. You know, there are going to be moments where you have that interaction and you're like, oh, I could have handled that a little bit better. That's okay. Just recover from it. You go back to it. You go back to the child. You go back and say, you know what? Mommy screamed a little bit. I did. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes mommy flips her lid too. It's okay. Let's work this out together. I like that it's realistic. The founder of the Positive Discipline is Jane Nelson, Dr. Jane Nelson. She's in her 80s now and she's still presenting. I just saw her a year ago as the keynote and it was fantastic. At one point she did lose her friend. She was like, I'm in my 80s. So we were like, of course. She has 7 children and there's something like 40 some like grandchildren are in there somewhere. Like, there's a lot of children in her life. So she lived this. And what she said is that when her children were small, and she has 7 of them, so that's a lot, she got to the point where she was so mean to them that she couldn't stand herself. So then she went really, really, really nice. And then she's like, I got so nice, couldn't stand with children anymore because then they kind of like moved the house. So finding that balance, and that's when she really found her way into this positive discipline model. And she's been honing it for all of those years. So I do think it's a realistic one. I think it's one that you take away what you can from it, but you also cut yourself a break. You are human, you're going to have human moments. It's okay. It's good for children to see us trip up so that we can recover. So first we want to do a little exercise, and we're going to start with imagine this. Imagine it's your child's first year of college. They've gone away to college. They come back at Thanksgiving. They come back at Thanksgiving. Who are they? What are their characteristics?
Or they're in DC as we speak, and you're hoping that they are behaving themselves. They are.
So what are some things you want your child, who do you want your child to be? Responsible. Empathetic. Kind. Happy. You do want them to be happy, right?
Discipline.
Resilient. Yeah, check my spelling on that. Helpful. Social. Respectful. Confident. Independent. Healthy. All around healthy, right? Not just physical health, but mental health. Open-minded. That is a profile word from the IB. Thank you very much. Anything else? It's a good list, right? They come back, they're all of these things. Job well done. Job well done. I'm gonna take this. No. I'm just gonna take it off. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna say that I lost all that. Who was supposed to post this?
Use the dark market. Use the dark market. Use the dark market.
Okay.
I want to type your list into, it's a little, the marker's a little.
We are flexible, that is one of our
Streamers.
Three streamers. Sorry, and my blue did not show up as dark as
Brown
Okay,
shows up.
here we go. Here we go, red. Let's see, the red should be darker. Now come back to now. I'm gonna write the word challenges. You're in it right now. They're little. There are challenges. What are your challenges? Strong-minded. Listen. They don't listen.
Flexible, we're not flexible.
You're
right now.
inflexible.
Inflexible.
You're
need to stretch.
inflexible.
Impatient.
Impatient.
Emotional.
Emotional.
Impulsive.
Yes, they are.
Defiant.
Defiant.
Distracted.
Distracted. Squirrel. I'm also distracted. Any other struggles, any other challenges we're having? It's okay, everyone else in this room is having that same challenge. You can say it out loud.
Too much energy, hard to control.
So much energy.
Fickle.
Needy. So much need.
They need dinner every night.
Laura, you're saying is? They're getting it every
Yeah, they kill me one night at a time.
One night at a time.
Picky.
Picky? Don't like those. What are they? Oh, gentlemen know-it-all. Yeah, you're like, kids, you've been around 4 years. How do you think you know more than me?
Logical.
They sound so fun to be with.
Yeah, also irrational.
We're irrational.
Irritable.
Irritable.
Yeah, I really don't sweat.
Messy.
Messy.
Yeah,
So much.
so much mess.
Particular.
Oh. I'm gonna run out of episode. Okay, so I think that's a good list of challenges. I'm here to tell you, this is normal. This is typical. They haven't been around so long. They haven't been speaking so long. They don't have a lot of tools. They don't have a lot of tools yet, so.
I'm sorry to say, but also my 13-year-old also fits.
Yes.
A lot of these also.
Nora, you have my list?
I mean, I feel like I fit. Like, I'm feeling rather broken.
So the question is, my little light list here. I just need to pick. Oh. Yeah, I was gonna pick it. Okay. We're just getting used to it. Yeah.
Being back in person in a new space.
And streaming. How do you get from this list to that list? That's the question. That's the point of the exercise. Because they will. They will get from here to there. This is all developmentally appropriate. And a lot of times, a lot of this comes from our expectations. We have high expectations. And if you have a child who you consider very verbal, who has a lot to say, we tend to think that they have more skills than they do. Just because, they, you know, when they're logical, yeah, they're illogical, but at the same time, they can like talk you out of something. And you're like, wait, you won? Like, how did you win that argument? I'm trained to argue with others, and somehow you won that argument. So even though they're illogical, sometimes they're overly illogical. And you're like, oh, yeah, I didn't see that way. So they have a counteroffer quite often. So we want to talk about how to get from these challenges to those characteristics, and positive discipline is one of the ways we do it. It's how we interact with children. It's the words that we use. It's the modeling we do for them. It's showing them the way. So that's our challenge. Take that off. Thanks, Benna. Yeah. Okay, let's jump in. Positive discipline is based on the theories of two different psychologists, whichever they were, Alfred Adler and Rudolf Dreigers. Today we're going to talk about Alfred Adler. I'm not as well versed in Dreigers, but I do know Adler very, very well. So Adler had some core ideas, and that's what the basis is for the positive discipline model. And the very first idea is that behavior is purposive, meaning that every behavior has a function. Every behavior we do as children, every behavior we have as adults, there's a function to our behavior. If there's no function to the behavior, it'll stop. It'll exhaust itself because it doesn't fulfill a need. It doesn't get us somewhere. So that's the first core idea, is that every behavior has a function. When you're in the moment with them, it does not feel like there's a function to their behavior. But there is. There is something behind that. So that's the first core idea. The next is that the goals of the behavior, why, what's driving the function of that behavior, is belonging and significance. We all have that. We all need a sense of belonging. We want to belong with others. We want to be felt that we are significant in our environment. We matter. Our voice matters. Very small children also feel that. They want to know that they are heard. They want to know that they are valued. They want to know that they contribute. So we want to make sure that we give them those opportunities. And then with this behavior also, a misbehavior is from a mistaken belief about how to get that belonging and significance. So it's what's driving it. So do not critique my drawing because I'm not an artist. But this is going to be my hold on, I do need a little bit of blue for context. Those are my waves, Iceberg. Yes, thank you. She recognized it. Here's my iceberg. Here's my iceberg. And what they say is that this is the behavior. The tip of the iceberg is the behavior. And they also, Positive Discipline also says that rewards and punishment just chip away at the tip. But if the tip of an iceberg falls off, the bottom of the iceberg just bobs up a little bit. So it's really a losing battle, the rewards and the punishment. Underneath the surface, right here, is the belief behind the behavior. What is the belief that's driving that behavior? What is the function of this behavior? Let's see some of these behaviors here. Needy. They're needy. Needy in a way that sometimes you're like, okay, you need a glass of water. You have a water bottle. Take a sip. Right? You're like, come on, it's right there for you. Sometimes they need help with it. Sometimes they need a little more support with it. But they have a lot of needs because they are not so independent yet. So the belief might be is, I need you, I need you, I need you, I need you. Because we belong together, we belong, we belong, we belong. So my behavior is, I want it now! Because I have no patience yet. But what's the belief behind the behavior? And then all the way at the bottom, what started this iceberg to begin with, is this need for belonging and significance. And another statement that the Positive Discipline uses that I love is the mistakes we make in the name of love. No parent wakes up in the morning and thinks, I think I'm going to traumatize a child today. It's on my agenda. I'm going to do this. Today's the day. I think I'm just going to lose it on them. I'm going to really go for some scarring there. No one wakes up like that, right? It's the mistakes we make in the name of love. We want them to be independent, but maybe we're pushing them there too fast, too soon, because the child is so verbal, because the child seems so independent. we forget about this need for belonging and significance, or we do everything for our child. We do everything for them. Well, that doesn't make me feel needed. That doesn't make me feel like I'm significant. You're doing everything for me. I'm not participating. I'm not contributing.
As an example, kind of from my own home life, my daughter, who is and always has been very verbal, she is very expressive, and also very independent. But I was noticing, especially after I started working, we have a lot of night events, we have a lot of things that, parent events and things that would kind of take me away from her. And I started noticing at night, kind of towards the end of the week, some really needy behavior. And I was like, Eve, like, you're fine, like, here's the, and I was getting annoyed at her because she was needing me so much. And finally the light went off. I was like, oh, she misses me. She's noticing that I have not physically been here. And so once I kind of then changed my perception of where that behavior was coming, then I could be a little bit more patient with her, but also patient with me, and say, this is a different dynamic for us now. And I still see that, and I can recognize it in her. Last week, I was unfortunately out every night for various things. One night I had to get my hair done, so of course I had to get out. So,
You have needs too.
yes, but everything else was Dwight related. And honestly, come Friday, she was a mess. And I noticed, and I was like, you know what? I need to put everything else away and just really make some significant time to sit with her and give her all of the attention that I can. My son Alex, he could care less. And he's always kind of been like that too. He is less needing of me kind of mentally and physically than she is. And I don't know if that's because he's older or he's the boy and she's the girl, I have no idea. But he is a little bit more, less reactive in that way.
Absolutely. So cracking the code, you gotta crack the code. Like, what is going on here? But recognizing the role that you have. And what's important too is telling your child, Evie, I've been away all week, and that must be so hard for you. Let's have some time together. It's recognizing it. It's labeling it. It's saying, this might be what's driving these feelings for you. And the child goes, oh, okay. Now the 2-year-old is not going to say, oh, okay. Like, I went to bed. You're not gonna over talk it with a 2-year-old. You're gonna keep your words very, very simple. We call it toddlerese. You gotta talk in their like choppy sentences, because that's what they can process. But when they are 4 years old, 5 years old, you can sit down and say, this is the part I played in what's going on here. Instead of putting it on them, put it on you. You take it, you're the adult, you can handle it, you could be the one to say it first, and you need to say it first. They're not going to come to you. One of the other sentences those phrases they use is, it's co-regulation leads to self-regulation. We're gonna have to regulate together first, then I can give you more ownership over that regulation. But in the beginning, you need me to help you regulate. So in that example, Laura's cracking the code, what's going on with Evie, instead of saying to Evie, what's up with you? What's going on? This isn't you. That's not gonna be helpful. That's not helpful language. Instead saying, here's what I've noticed. And a child in 5th grade can then say, yeah, it's been really hard this week. I really didn't see you. I missed you. And then you all the feelings. Then we gotta help Laura. Another one of the core ideas is that people are continually making decisions based on how their world is perceived. The younger the child, the more egocentric they are. A 2-year-old, the world is as they see it, as they live it. They know nothing else yet. They don't have abstract thinking yet. So everything they see, there's going to be perceptions that come with it. They could be misperceptions. They often are misperceptions. You're not here this week. You don't love me anymore. And you're like, whoa, that was a big leap. But they don't have much to go on. It's all about me. The younger they are, they start to expand that. They start to understand other people's feelings. They start to get empathetic. All of that, they get empathetic for you. They don't realize also that you have a life. You are my parent, and that is your only job. It's your only role. It's your only reason for existing. That's a child's job. So we just need to break that code, get down there. The perception leads to an interpretation, which leads to a belief. And when beliefs get in there young, they're very hard to change. It's very hard to change a belief. Skills we can develop over time. Beliefs, those are harder to change. And then they make a decision about themselves. So what is the child thinking, feeling, deciding? What am I feeling? Daddy yelled at me. Oh, he doesn't want to play. He yelled at me. What's my belief? He doesn't want to be with me. What's my decision? I'm going to throw everything I can at him. Because now I've got his attention. And now we're spiraling together. Other way. Oh, my parent put down their device and said, this is time for us. My parent respects me. My parent loves me. My parent wants to be with me. I'm worthy to be with. That's my belief. My decision, I'm going to sit here and play with you too. I'm going to have these interactions. And tomorrow I'm going to go to school happy. What is the child thinking, feeling, deciding? Everything is recoverable, right? We can recover. If we have that moment, we have to actually recover from it. We have to actually go to the child and say, whoo, that was a moment. Mommy didn't do so well. Let's try that again. We all make mistakes. You want that to be the mantra. So you want to help them with those relations.
Yeah, I often joke that I live in recovery with my children because I feel like I'm constantly being like, ooh, that was not the greatest parenting choice there. So we kind of have a chat about it. But yes, that's kind of fun. I feel like I live in a sense of recovery.
Like story of me on the street.
Sure.
So Alex was probably like 4.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
He was really young, and we were on the boulevard. They were on the boulevard.
I'm always on the boulevard.
Always
Never
on
on
the
the boulevard.
So Laura is walking with either her mother or mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law, so the stress is a little higher, right? It's mother-in-law. They're walking in front of me, and they don't realize I'm right behind them. So we're walking, and Alex just like takes off into the street. And Laura grabs him and like pulls him back, and he's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Hi, Laura."
Yeah. And I was
She's
like,
like,
oh, for the love of
Hi,
God.
Chris.
I was like, of course. Of all the people on the boulevard, I run into Chris in that moment.
It's okay, I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'm a safe space.
This was before I was working here. I was just had been a participant
young.
for.
And Evie must have been really, really young.
Yeah, she must have been.
She wasn't there, but it's just, yeah, it's a safety issue. Child's about to run in the street. You gotta act fast. You want to like leave an impression because you want to leave the impression. You don't want anything else leaving you, right? Like, so you're gonna have those moments. It's okay. It's all right. Maybe his belief in that moment was I shouldn't run into the street, and that's what we want. The other core belief is that there's a horizontal relationship between parent and child, between teacher and child, between adult and child. You're on the same plane. It is not a hierarchy. I do not power over you. That doesn't mean you don't model for the child. It doesn't mean you don't guide the child. It doesn't mean that you don't set boundaries for the child. It just means you do so in a way that is respectful. I don't know about you, but I did hear a lot in my childhood because I said so. That's a very power over statement. You don't need to ask the why of this question, of this. I'm the adult, you're the child, you need to do that. That can be difficult for children. When you give that respect, when you have that horizontal relationship, when you give back a little power and say, would you like broccoli or would you like carrots as your vegetable at dinner? We're having a vegetable at dinner. Which one do you prefer? Don't worry, if they don't like broccoli yet, they might like it later. It's all in how you make it, where you hide it.
That's a whole other seminar.
A whole other seminar. But it is a relationship. It is we are part of the solution together. You are part of this family. You have a voice in this family because we have a horizontal relationship. My role right now is to set boundaries for you because I'm your parent. That's my responsibility. But that doesn't mean you don't have a voice. And if you think something is unfair, we need to talk about it. You can speak up and say, I don't think that was a fair choice. Now, are they gonna say that when they're 3? Yeah, sure they are, because they do say, it's not fair. And then you're like, well, this is actually fair. Like, this is what we need to do. But if you set that tone in your household, if you set that tone in your family of we are all part of this family, this is our family. This is our house. These are our rules so that we stay safe as a family. That's a horizontal relationship. The vertical is the hierarchy. I power over you. My say is what goes. Now, do you have the biggest vote? Of course you do. the fact that they had a voice, that they had a choice is very, very important.
I think what's important in that example is the two choices. We're not giving them, 5 color choices on which toothbrush you're using. It's either you're using the red toothbrush or the blue toothbrush. We want to make sure that they have some power and some choice in that situation, but we're not overwhelming them with choices.
Absolutely, so important. And the younger they are, the less choice they need. They're overwhelmed by too many choices.
So I run into, like last night, my 5-year-olds take the pizza box out to the trash. That's one of his chores. And I hate chores. Well, this is part of what we do to keep our family safe and healthy. So that's what you have to do. We then have gotten the pushback of, I want out of this family. So when do you say, so when do you say that's not a choice?
You just validate the feeling. It's not a choice. I mean, you can take it a little farther if you want. You can be like, okay, what's your plan? Do you have another family lined up? Use your sense of humor sometimes, because sometimes they're like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you let me know when you find one. You let me know when you find that other family that wants you to jump ship. So we'll make those arrangements. You have to be joking. You have to know your moment.
Yeah. So I just said, well, that's not a choice. So let's walk down the hall together. So I went with him to drop off the pizza box, and it was.
It's important that he dropped off the pizza box.
Yeah,
It's his
he's
responsibility.
We were still super mad and upset that
Validate
it's
it.
not a choice was
Yep.
my bottom
It's
line.
a validation.
And the next step could also be like, okay, am I carrying the box or are you carrying the box? Am I walking with you or are you walking by yourself? So 2 more choices where he's still doing your job,
Right.
but there's now 2 more choices.
It's not a choice. You're
Right.
part of
The choice is,
Yeah.
are you doing it or am I doing it? Am I carrying it or are you carrying it? Are you walking by yourself or am I coming with you?
We really value your responsibility in our family. We really do. But validate the feeling. All feelings are valid. All of them. I don't want to do this. I want out of this family. I want all that. I hear you. Woo. I had those moments too when I was growing up. I really wanted out of my family too. Well, let's go put that pizza box away. You just kind of move on. The pizza box is still going to the recycling. But you can have your feelings about it. You are absolutely, those are your feelings. You belong to those feelings.
I mean, and I often joke because sometimes, my husband and I will be having a conversation and I'm like, I hear your words. And he's like, don't give me positive discipline, validating me. And I'm like, well, I hear your words, but I cannot have this conversation. I hear your words, but we are disagreeing in this. So it is funny how it kind of like creeps into other parts of my life.
I have had parents come back after the seminars and be like, marriage is better. I'm glad to hear it. I mean, Jane Nelson does do marriage counseling, so those are those Alfred Adler ideas.
So I think that's what's happening. Yeah. For example, I'm struggling with my daughter. She never wants to change diaper. I give the option, you want to be standing, you want to be like down. No, always be no. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm starting counting now. Let's say 3, 2, 1. I do one before step, but we need to move forward. And that is the time when I need to force her physically, which I really don't like to do. But I don't see any option.
Yeah, I mean, in some of those moments, that's like now we're getting to a safety situation, right? Like she has to have her diaper changed. But this might be a good time to start considering potty training, right? Because if she is, not willing to let it go, I'm gonna bounce this to Chris because she's more.
I am the potty trainer.
Yeah.
I was a tutor teacher for many, many years, and I potty trained like 1,000 children. And, some of it is a sign of like, it looks like you don't want to wear a diaper, there's another option. Let me show you what that option is. And also, sometimes it's just redirection, especially with 2-year-olds. They are distractible. That's one of our challenges. It's also one of the best tools you can use. Oh, which book do you want to hold while I change your diaper? Here you go, zoom, 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 change it, and then you go. Like you're like a ninja. Like, you gotta change the diaper quickly. But turn the page. Don't stay in the argument too long. I hear you, you don't want your diaper changed. It's time to change your diaper. Right? It's happening. So here it is. Ooh, here's this, here's that. Woo, look at this one thing over here. Like, just give her something to distract her. Try not to get into the back and forth because nobody wins the back and forth. One of the tool cards is don't back talk the back talk. I think I said that right. Don't back talk the back talk. The back talking to you, right? It's time to change the diaper. No, change the diaper. Now you're back talking the back talk. Yes, you gotta change the diaper. You know, now you're just in this and no one's gonna get out of it. So turn the page, change the channel, come up with something new. And we do it with school. I don't want to go to school today. I hear you. You don't want to go to school today. Today's a school day. And sometimes you're like, you know, they realize like, all right, there's no battle to be had with that. It's a statement. It's not a question. So I said at the beginning, Jane talked about how she was too kind or she was too firm. She didn't like herself. So you need to find a balance between. And you need to be both at the same time. You need kind and firm at the same time. You can't be like, which parent do I have today? Do I have the softie or do I have the firm one? No, I mean, in my household, honestly, if I wanted something, I went to my dad. Because he was like, yes, baby girl, I'll give you anything you want. And then my mom would be like, no, she cannot have that. And I'm like, oh, right, that's the answer I actually needed. Right, I need to go to mom, because if she said yes, then I got it. But if dad said yes, well, I wasn't sure. So I lived in a household where one was kind and one was firm, and they were also they were very firm, general. But when it came to disciplining the three of us, my mom was the head of the situation. You want to have a balance. You want to be the kind and firm. If you're just kind all the time, what we get is permissive parenting. Yes, you can have that. Yes, you can have that. Yes, you can do anything. You can be anything. You can do anything. Permissive, 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 permissive. I want candy. I guess you'll get it. I want this. I guess you'll get it. That's permissive. Just all yeses all the time. No boundaries. We're friends. We're besties. I want them to like me. You know what? Sometimes your children aren't going to like you. It's okay. They have plenty of friends who do like them. It's not your role. You do hope they like you. Right, you do want them to like you, but it's not the ultimate goal. And I think Laura.
Yeah, Evie did not like me this morning. I think she was like in a rush and I was not being fast enough. So she got right on that bus this morning without even giving me a second thought.
Yes, she was like, bye, I don't like you. Yeah. And I mean, I've gotten that. I mean, my godchildren turned 12 on Tuesday. They're amazing. But I got like, I don't like you. And I was like, well, that's a choice. Not on their birthday. They didn't say on their birthday, just to qualify that. They were very happy with birthday because you get Chris cake. Good stuff.
She likes me when she gets off the bus.
Yeah, I hope that's changed. The flip side is authoritarian. My way or the highway. This is my house. When you live under my roof, my rules, 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 rules. Those two actually have the same outcome. Ironically, permissive parenting, authoritarian parenting, same outcome. The child struggles to find their own self. Because they had no boundaries here, when a boundary is set, a boundary that can be negotiated, they rebel. They rebel. I'm gonna do it anyway. See how you like it. I'm gonna do it. Get power over me now? No, I've got all the power. I'm gonna do whatever I want. Authoritarian, you never gave me any choice. I never had any choice. Now I have a little choice because I'm older. I'm going to rebel. Same outcome. And then over here is, this is not kind, not firm. It's just neglect. They're really struggling to find any tools. But the sweet balance here is the democratic. And then it's authoritative, which I find very confusing because it's very close to that word. But I even had to look at the slide to make sure I had the right ones. In this world, it's kind and firm. You don't want to take the pizza box to the recycling. I hear you. That is sometimes a bummer. Let's go. I'm kind, I'm firm, I'm sticking it. But still stick with it, you still need to do it. It's your job, it's part of being part of this family, you're gonna do it. But I'm gonna be kind about it. I'm not yelling, I'm not like, well, you never do your chores and I have to do everything. No. I'm kind and firm at the same time.
I will say that there are times when I am a little more loosey-goosey with what I allow in my household. My husband tends to be a bit more of the disciplinarian, I will say. And sometimes I will say to him, don't die on this mountain. This is not a mountain that we need to fight, right? You know, it can be, he sometimes has high expectations of what my son should be wearing when we go certain places, and I'm like, you know what, jeans are fine. We got him in jeans. Let's just not die. He's not in sweatpants. That's a win in my book. And so
Celebrate the win.
right, exactly. And so I think between him and I, we do sometimes have to find the balance even in our own parenting life and style and what our expectations are. But you know, and I joke that Alex is off in DC and I hope he is behaving, but I do feel that because my husband and I have worked really hard to be in this space, and we have had conversations of when, you know, he does make a mistake and what that looked like and felt like, that I do know he knows right from wrong, and so I do know that he is behaving, you know, and because I know we've kind of put the work in for all these years, I think in some of these other spaces, you know, right now with the devices, Alex knows and Evie knows that devices are not a choice. We have kind of on the week, during the week, and we have limits on it, so they have screen time, so their device is essentially shut down. Evie can take that directive and understands it, and at 8 o'clock, all those things are done. Alex still, every night, why do I have this? You know, and constantly, even though we have set this expectation, and I think he is feeling 13, he is feeling that he should not have any restrictions, but sometimes when we don't have the restrictions, he trips up. So, you know, we just have to keep saying, like, this is something that you are still working towards. So, we have a lot of conversations in this kind of realm in our household.
And a lot of validation.
A lot of
I can understand how frustrating it is. And you yourself are feeling frustrated because you're like, this is not the first time we've had this conversation.
Right.
Having it again and again and again. Sometimes that's what they need.
none of my friends have it, though I know they do. Although yesterday you just
Oh, it's always the friends,
Yeah.
right? Somehow the friend's parents are just like loosey-goosey, I guess, because you're the only household that has the rules.
It's not true. Not true.
They're all having that same conversation.
That was that with grandparents.
So grandparents are fun. Grandparents are fun, right? And that's their job because they had to raise all their children, right? So they now get to be the fun ones. They get to be permissive. And it's okay because your child has parents. Your child has parents who's gonna be the kind and the firm. So you can try to reel grandma in, but you know, you can try to reel Aunt Chris in sometimes with the gifts and whatnot. But we're the fun part. It's okay. It's okay as long as it's not like damaging over here. Right. Explaining to the children why the rules don't apply to grandparents.
When we come back, those things have been
So, these are our boundaries, these are our rules, this is what makes our family work here at home. Wasn't that fun? Wasn't that fun that you got to do that with grandma? Wasn't that fun that you got to do that with papa? Wasn't that fun that you got to do that? Great, I'm so glad you had that experience. Welcome home.
I will say, when my kids still do, my parents live in New Jersey and they spend an extraordinary amount of time there. And after one of the first times that Alex was there and could then report to me what happened, and my dad's name is Bob, and he just has always called him Bob, and he was like, Bob gave me juice. And that was not something and it turned out he gave him 5 glasses of juice. And I was like, Dad, and he was like, what, you wanted juice, And so I finally was like, okay, juice is something you have at Monty and Bob's, and he called my mother Manya. And so so now juice is, obviously now they're older, but juice was a special treat at Manya. At Manya and Bob, yes, soda. And of course, it's as my dad calls regular Coke, high test Coca-Cola. And so the kids are yes, Coke, you know? And I was like, you know what, Mom and Dad, like, you're digging your own here because, like, now you gotta deal with them on soda and juice. And I just was like, I was like, okay, listen, they're yours. And my mom would text me and be like, can I give them this? Can I give them that? And I would finally, it was just like, Ma, they're yours for the weekends. I don't care. I'll get them back and I'll rein them back in. And there are certain things that are like, okay at Mommy and Bob's house and not at mine, and we have set that precedent.
And it's fun.
It's fun. They have a blast in my house. I hate when I stay.
I have my godchildren 1 week in a month. They sleep over at my apartment, and we have a whole routine. We have pizza, and we have movies, and we eat waffles on the bed, and blah 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 blah. And they're like, "We love it here." I'm like, "Yeah." And then Jonathan was like, "You know what? I'm going to move in with you." And I said, "Oh, Jonathan, if you moved in with me, things would have to change." Yeah. And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "You think you just would have no rules? You think you'd be watching movies and playing on, Nintendo all day long?" No, we would have to have rules, but this is just a weekend and it's fun and it's a little getaway and I'm glad you have this. But make no mistake, my friend, if you live with me, we would have to change this a little because this is not what you need. Your parents are giving you what you need. There's such an attitude. I love it. They're spunky. So spunky. All right, we're gonna move on to 3 empowering beliefs that help children succeed in life and school. And like I said before, beliefs get into us young and they persist. And as adults, we often don't know where did that belief come from. So let's make those positive beliefs. These 3 beliefs are, I am capable. That's belief number 1. Belief number 2 is, I contribute in meaningful ways and I am genuinely needed. You gotta take the pizza box out because I'm needed. What would Mom do if I didn't do it? I mean, in the moment, he might fight it, but he also likes it. And this last one is not for 2-year-olds. I use my personal power to make choices that positively influence what happens to me and my community. 2-year-olds do not care what their impact is on others. They are about me. They will come to this as well. So really breaking these down. I am capable. For a child to feel capable, they have to have moments to practice that. You can't say to someone, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, and then do it for them. Because the message you're giving is, you can't do it. So we say, like, you can do this, you can do this. Give them opportunities to feel that success. Take the plate from the dinner table to the sink. It has to be non-breakable, or you're gonna have some accidents with that. You have to be okay with what spills along the way. So if there was something big on it that you didn't want on the floor, just take it off the plate. But I am capable, I can do this, I can contribute. I can do this. This is also the second one, I contribute. I help clean up dinner. They always wanna help, and the smaller they are, the more they wanna help. They wanna wash dishes when they're like 3. Give them a dish, give them a little thing, a little dish, and be like, that's your dish, you wash that, so helpful. Now you have to sponge up the floor, but they're helpful. I am capable, I can do this. We want them to be problem solvers, and to be problem solvers, we have to keep ourselves out of it. Sometimes you're on the playground, and they're getting into it with a friend, and as long as the friend's parents okay with this too, step back and be like, let's see what happens. They're gonna work it out. Oftentimes, we jump in. Oh, wait, no, don't stop. As long as it's safe, as long as what they're doing isn't going to hurt them, stay out of it as much as you can. Let them figure it out for themselves so they feel capable.
I will say too, we had friends over for dinner. This is when my kids were still younger, and when dinner was over and I said, "You're excused," they picked up their plates and brought them to the counter. They weren't quite washing them yet. And the other couple was like, "How did you get them to do that?" And I was like, "Because that's what we do. That is our process." And they were like, mind blown. And I was like, it's just the expectation in our house. We've finished dinner, you bring your dishes to the counter. And so, now they're putting them in the dishwasher. And of course, even now I'm like fixing up the dishwasher after they put their things in there. But, setting those things early and having them do them, it does become a little bit more second nature.
And then they feel responsible. You want them to be responsible. It's one of our characteristics. You have to give them responsibility. You have to have that responsibility. In the same breath, if they make a mistake, They can't then have blame, shame, or pain. I made a mistake. It was a mistake. Focus on what happened and what's the solution rather than, deconstructing the whole thing. Why did you do that? It's a statement sometimes that comes out of our mouths as adults. Why did you do that? More often than not, they don't know. They're very young. They don't know why they did something. And we can tend to get stuck in it. One of the examples I have found was about a sandbox, a child in a sandbox, throwing the sand. And the parent says, throw the sand one more time, choices have consequences. We'll have to leave the playground. And then when it happens, okay, it's time to leave. No, I don't want to leave. I hear you, you don't want to leave. We'll try again tomorrow. I think tomorrow, we're gonna try this again. We're gonna do this again. Instead of, I told you not to throw the sand again. You threw the sand again, and now we can't go. And I'm so embarrassed. I'm the embarrassed mom on the playground because you were the kid who's throwing the sand. And so now I'm gonna talk to you the whole way home. That's blame, that's shame. They do what they do. They are impulsive. They do things. They want to see, will you stay kind and firm? You said we're gonna leave the playground. The grocery store's the other one. You do not stop doing X, Y, Z. Name the behavior though. Don't use the word that. Don't stop doing that. They're like, well, what's the that? Tell them exactly what they're doing. We're gonna have to leave the grocery store. You have to be willing to follow through with whatever you say. You're going to grandma's house.
Yeah.
You can't be like, if you don't get your shoes on, we're not going, because you're going. Because you don't want to explain to your mother-in-law why you couldn't get your kid out the door. Right? So don't give a threat that you can't follow through with.
I don't mean to be like calling out my poor husband, but he would do that all the time when they were little, and I was like, we're still getting in the car and we're going, so let's choose another consequence that can happen right in this minute, because if you're not gonna be able to follow through on that, then we're not teaching them.
Right. And if you don't use that phone properly, you're never gonna have it again, ever, in your life. And it's like, wow. Yeah. The kid's like, okay, let's go. Right? 10 minutes from now, you're giving me that thing back. You have to be able to follow through, realize your role in it, but also without the blame, the shame. You were throwing sand, it could hurt somebody else. We had to leave the playground, we'll try again tomorrow. I wonder what we're gonna have for dinner when we get home. Turn the page, move on. Don't deconstruct it so often, because then they don't feel like you believe that they can change, or that they are capable.
They're also not hearing that, especially in that moment. Yeah, and they're just upset they're leaving the playground, and it's not the time to kind of dive into some of those bigger pieces.
The I contribute, it's about opportunities. We are going to share the slides that we put together for this. You're going to find some things on the slides that we're not going to cover today because I over-planned for this. And I have two people who want to finish this and then go through the brain and wrap up. But opportunities. That's how they feel like they contribute. It has to be real. You can't tell them that they're important. You have to show them that they're important. And then the power comes from viewing mistakes as opportunities for learning. This is what we did. What did we learn from this? Friends get hurt with sand. Yeah, we learned that. So let's use the bucket. Let's use it. Give them something else to do instead. What is that mistake? I made a mistake. I did X, Y, Z. What did you learn from it? That's your first question. What did you learn from it? How are we going to move forward with it? There are bigger problems coming when they are 13. You want them to come to you and say, I made a mistake. And your response is, what are we going to do about that? What's next? Instead of, why did you do that? You know better than that. I raised you differently than this. This is not the child that you are. That's not going to help. And then they're going to stop coming to you. They're going to hide their mistakes from you. But they need you to help them with those mistakes. So you set that tone when they're young, that any mistake you make, we can figure it out together. There might be consequences. But that's okay. We're going to talk about those together. If you misuse your phone, and then you ask them as an 11, 12-year-old, how long do you think would be a good consequence for this? I lose it for 2 days. They never say that, they say 2 minutes. But you can get
Well, it's like an hour. Like,
okay, well, not really bad. Right. You really want them to see that they have power. They use that power. They can make mistakes. It's okay. We all make mistakes. Oh, the other part of that is realizing one can't control what happens, but we can control our response. It wasn't fair. He took it from me. Blah, 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 blah. I understand. And that must have been really frustrating that he took that toy from me. You still may not push him. Why do we not push him? Exactly. What could have been a different way we handled that? All right, let's try that next time. That's the outcome of that. Let's try that next time. We're going to keep trying. Do it again tomorrow. Okay, so big emotions. We talked about big emotions. So in the slides, you're going to find this. It's called the brain in the palm of your hand. Imagine your brain is here. This is your brain. I need my hand out because I don't like to remember the parts of the brain. Okay, so here's your brain. Imagine the palm of your hand to the wrist is a part of the brain called the primitive brain. This is our primitive brain. That's my primitive brain. The primitive brain controls the body's automatic functions, heartbeat, breathing. This is always active. It's always there, right? Now you cross your thumb over it and you have the midbrain. And this is our fight or flight or freeze. Now they added fawn. I can't keep adding to this, but fight or flight. This is what I have accessible to me. Am I going to fight or am I going to flee? What am I going to do? Cross over, and now the fingers are the cortex where self-control and self-regulation happen, right? And then the fingertips, the nails, positive social behaviors, all that, just teeny tiny part right here. Now, take something from me, take it away, it made me mad and I'm angry and boom, flip my lid. What do I have accessible? Fight or flight. I'm either gonna be in it or I'm out completely. I'm not gonna be rational. You're not gonna be able to be like, honey, we talked about this. This is what we, because I've got fight or flight. And oftentimes they pick fight. And sometimes it's just freeze. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Stop talking at me. I don't know what to do because I flipped my lid. Some children start out here already. They weren't ever, the lid was never completely on because when I woke up, you picked out clothing I didn't like. Oh, there went my lid. Now you want me to put those shoes on? I don't like those shoes. Those shoes are too tight. My lid went here. And now we get to school and you say, I can't have my favorite animal. My lid flipped. I am not rational in this moment. Please do not try to rationalize with me. Please do not be logical. Do not bribe me. Do not threaten me in any way. I'm not gonna hear you. I'm either gonna fight with you or I'm just gonna no. I'm gonna try to get away from you. The only thing you can do in that moment is help them put the lid back on. It's the only thing you can do. Try to get the lid back on. Do that through validating. Do that through a very calm voice. You're not trying to give them options in that moment because they don't hear you. The lid is flipped. You gotta get the lid back on. And we do that together. I see that you're so very upset. Okay, breathe, take a breath. Oh, smell the flower. Blow out the candle. And sometimes they're like, no, and then they do it, right? So you want to recognize when they're gone. When Evie was little, there was a lot of lid flipping.
Yeah. And I will say my kids flip their lids differently. So Evie is a bit more, I would say, always half flipping. She kind of just lives in this space of ready to go. And so when she would flip, she would just fight and cry and be angry and lose her mind. Alex, he is more of the I gotta get out of this situation and I can't talk about this right now. So he needs a minute by himself to calm down. And she just needs all the explosions. Like she was the kid in the supermarket losing her mind and I was like, okay, everybody, we're good. We're just gonna wait this out a minute. And Alex he's the freezing kind. So
Even sometimes it's a little bit I don't hear you.
Yeah.
And then the grocery store, when the child's flipping out, just know it's only people without children who are judging you. Yeah. The people with children are going, thank God that's not my kid. Oh, that could have been my kid. Oh, I'm glad it's not me.
Yeah. I can tell you how many times in Jubilee I was like, we're all good here.
We're all good. She's not hurt.
Nothing to see here.
She's just very passionate. passionate, very passionate.
Yeah.
Passionate kid. Later, that's gonna serve her well, and I have to say, Evie is just an amazing kid, such high emotional intelligence. So all that you did when she was screaming on the grocery store floor, that helped get us to where we are.
At school, she's like a perfect child, and then she saves it all for me. She leaves all her drama for her mom.
Drama for her mom. All right, so some parting thoughts before we wrap things up. Like we said, all feelings are valid, not all actions are. Just because I'm upset does not give me an excuse to do X, Y, Z that's going to impact someone else. Talk about how this impacts someone else. But your feelings are valid, so validate their feelings. It goes a long way. Even 2-year-olds coming in for separation and they're crying, I know it's hard to come to school. And sometimes like, oh, you hurt me. Somebody finally heard me. This is what I've been crying about for like the last half hour. We heard you. It is hard to say goodbye sometimes. Let's go see what else we can do. I do a lot of like picking them up and be like, ooh, look over there. Ooh, look over there. Whatever it is, it helps them. Meeting a child's need does not necessarily mean giving them what they want. It means acknowledging or responding to the need. Don't try to talk them out of what they want. I want a popsicle. We don't have a popsicle right now. We haven't even ate dinner yet. That's the silliest question I've ever heard. Sometimes your child will be like, oh, okay. But your child, it might be like, oh, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? You can have one of those tomorrow. We were talking at the beginning about trying to stay away from the word no. It doesn't mean that you give them everything they want. It doesn't mean that you don't actually say it sometimes, but it's easier if you don't respond to everything they say or do with a no, 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 because then you do become a little white noise. They don't really hear it. You want to give them the answer that they might not be looking for, but it's an acknowledgement. I want ... You can have that, and then when it's acceptable to have that. Sometimes it's never. Like, I want ice cream for dinner. Oh, that's so silly. Ice cream for dinner. That would be awesome. Oh, if we could have that every day and still have a healthy brain, we would. But you can have it. And they say not to say but, say it. And you can have it. It's not always saying no.
Yeah, Evie loves sweets, and so that is a big struggle in our house, and she'll, some days she asks for way more than she should, and I'll say, okay, well, I know that already today we've had this, this, and this. Let's plan on having this tomorrow, and she can kind of rationalize that. But
Children do better when they feel better. Somewhere along the line, adults decided if we powered over them, if we put them in their place, they'll do better. Because we gave them boundaries, we gave them discipline, we gave them all of this. No, children do better when they feel better, and that goes for everyone. People do better when they feel better. So acknowledging my feelings, no matter how irrational they are, is going to help me feel better. Having a conversation, including me in that, I'm gonna feel better about it. Doesn't mean I always get what I want. When we calmly discuss mistakes with children, we send the message that we all make mistakes and we can learn from them. When you make a mistake, tell your child about it. I'm telling you about a mistake I made today. This is what I did. And then they learn that we all make mistakes. It's okay. And actions speak louder than words. They are watching everything that you do. So when you're on the phone and someone has now said something that has made you angry, and you get angry back at them, your child's making note of that. They're like, oh, so that's how we speak when we're angry. Noted. And it's always your worst behaviors that they somehow just show up for and remember and bring back to you. So just be aware, if it does happen, because it will happen because you are human, have a conversation later. You know what I realized? I realized that my tone was not very respectful to that other person on the phone. I'm gonna work on that. That's so meaningful, it's so powerful for them. You're saying, I could have done better than that, I'm gonna try next time. Showing the directions. I think we have a few minutes because we started a little late. So just a few minutes if we have any questions, scenarios. I think Nora is monitoring the chat.
Hi everyone. Hi streaming audience at home. 15, 16-month-old child who cries whenever they hear no or is stopped. Older brother who's 2.5 has the language skills to listen, understand, and communicate. But little brother has not yet fully developed the language skills.
So developmentally appropriate. Nothing is wrong with the second child. It's just that they get there faster, right? When your older child was born and lived in your house, they had no one to battle. There was no one else. If they wanted to knock down the building, they knocked down the building. If they wanted to play with those blocks right now, they played with those blocks right now. And then along came number 2. And 2 wants to play with what number 1 is playing with. And that's like, no, you can go play with those things over there that I don't want, but you cannot have this now. So you're going to have some struggles. We're actually gonna do a whole session on sibling conflicts and how to help them. It's okay, stay away from the no as much as you possibly can. Redirect, 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 and also the older child sometimes has to give in a little bit. So I have my friends out on Long Island as well that I'm very, very close to, and they have 3 children, Tyler, Ava, and Cooper. And when Tyler was little and Ava came along, she just knocked down every building he ever made. And he'd be like, stop! Ah! You know, and then she was just like a little monster. And I said to him, she's still learning. Let's help her learn. She's still learning. And then when she would nap, be like, okay, now's the time for us to build because she's napping. So let's find this time. So finding that place for them, recognizing it. The same is true for like birthday parties or friends are coming over. Your child should not have to share everything they own. You would not share everything you own. If I came over and I'm like, I'm gonna use your car. You know, sharing is caring. Give me the keys. You'd be like, get out of here, you're crazy. That's what we do to children. This is my favorite, most prized possession, and you want me to give it to someone else. So it's totally developmentally appropriate for the little one to have a hard time with no, especially at 15 months. Try to stay away from the no. It's developmentally appropriate. You do have to find a way for both to feel like they get the time they need, the attention they need, and the space that they need.
That's where Evie got her nickname Evezilla, when she was in that time of her poor Alex would knock down every building he ever created. And I think what really did empower Alex at that time was saying, you know, let's help her learn how to build her own things. And he was very protective of some of his toys. So we did, before kids came over, say, okay, what do you feel comfortable with them using, and what do you not feel comfortable with using? And whatever he was really, really possessive of, I would kind of put away. So he didn't have to be in that kind of stressful situation.
And the same is true for siblings. Recognizing there are some things they don't want to share. It's okay. You can't then flaunt it. You know, you can't be like, I got this. And like, now he's gonna take it. Yeah, you brought that on yourself. You have to keep that in your room if you don't want to have that. You know, but having that respect so that it's not always, I mean, the baby gets it.
What about avoiding rewards or consequences becoming transactional in nature?
Don't do that. So the thing with rewards, it's back to this. You're just chipping away at the top of the iceberg and you're powering over at the same time. It's external. I hold the keys to the rewards. You want them? It is transactional. You do this for me, I do this for you. And then they start to say, what's in it for me? What are you gonna give me if I do that? My gratitude, my friend, my gratitude is what you're gonna get from me if you do that. So setting a stage of bribery or rewards it's just a rabbit hole you really don't wanna go down. You can be tricky and reward them without it being a reward. So they were just had a fabulous day. Saturday, we did this, we had a lot of listening, we got along with our siblings, we did all of this. Oh my goodness, I am so proud of us all. Let's see, let's go for ice cream. How much fun would that be? You're not really rewarding them. You never threatened it along the way. You were never like, if you do this, then we'll get ice cream. It was, it happened, let's reward it. Because that's how Vegas works. Right? You never know when you're gonna get the reward. So I'm gonna do it just in case this is the time. So that's how rewards work. And then punishment is the same. How common with that? The difference between consequence and punishment. Consequence is related to what happened and allows for a solution. this happened, this is what comes out of that. So we talk about choices bring on consequences. If I throw the sand, someone else might get hurt. So I'm not gonna be able to stay in the sandbox. It's not a punishment. It's a punishment when then it becomes, threw the sand in the sandbox, we talked about this before, now you don't have an iPad, you don't have anything to watch, I'm taking away your favorite Legos, now I'm punishing. And Legos have nothing to do with the fact that I did this, and now I'm angry with you. And now I'm gonna do it again the next time, because what are you gonna take away next time? I don't care, and this is the loop you get stuck in. Bridget.
So, in going off of that, for me and our family, a punishment only happens when someone else does get hurt. When it's a sibling conflict, one bites the other. That's an immediate punishment. You're going to timeout. I hate timeouts. We don't need timeouts. Timeouts don't work for us. But I don't know how to diffuse the situation other than an immediate separation.
So here's what and Bridget and I have a great relationship, so I can deconstruct what she just said, because I know she's open-minded about that. Even in the moment where one hurts the other, punishment still isn't going to work because then there's resentment. Oh, and also, what's the function of my behavior? I got your attention. I've been trying to get your attention for an hour and you've been ignoring me. I bit my sister and now all of a sudden you have so much to say to me. Got it. I have to hurt her to get your attention. You became the function of the behavior. So even when they hurt someone, and it is hard, I do believe in a stern word. I do believe in that. And maybe positivists will be like, that is too firm. But I do look at me. That is not okay. You do not bite our sister. That hurts. What will we do to help her? We get her an ice pack. We do this, we do that, let's take care of her. The consequence is we need to take care of the person who's hurt. No timeouts, timeouts don't work because they are not thinking about what you want them to think about, they're thinking about like, how am I gonna make that worse? I'm going to do this, or I'm gonna make this hard, or whatever. It just doesn't work. That's why we don't do it, it doesn't work. It doesn't help anyone. You feel bad, they feel bad, everyone feels bad. Developmentally appropriate to bite your sister? Yes, it is. Is it okay? No, it is not. I understand you were frustrated, and that's why you did this. I understand that. It was frustrating. We do not fight. We do not hit. We take care of each other in this family. This is what we do. It's a little bit of blame, it's a little bit of shame, but it should be really low, and then move to solutions. How will we help her?
And then I think what else is important is that, and then it's done. We're not harping on it. We've got our solution, we're getting the ice pack, and now we're all moving on and we're doing something else. We're taking ourselves out of that situation and into a new one.
And even if you look later and there is a full-on mouth on that arm and you can see the little bruises from that, you don't go back and be like, Daddy, do you see? Do you see what her arm looks like? Do you see? That was you. You did that. Now you're just rehashing it. It's hard for us because we feel the guilt in the moment. I wasn't watching them close enough. They're quick. They're so quick.
And if you're Evie, then you're learning from that situation. So now you're poking your brother to get a reaction out of him. And then
I will poke you until you bite me, because I'm
then I got all of Mom's attention. She's all with me now. Now she and I are in it.
What is the child thinking, feeling, deciding? In every interaction, what is the child thinking? What are they feeling? What are they deciding? I decided that I knew a way to get Mom's attention. It's gonna be okay. I do think we have to wrap up.
Are there any other questions?
We're gonna stay with that. So thank you all.